Hannibal Lecter doesn't need to chase you. He waits, patient, while you step closer on your own. Across 5 films, Hannibal Lecter changes faces, settings, and even the century he's standing in. But the hunger underneath never seems to diminish. From his first, almost clinical appearance in Manhunter to the blood-stained elegance of Hannibal, and back to the frozen origins of Hannibal Rising, each chapter shows another angle of the same predator. Some stories find him caged, others free in the world, but all of them leave the same trace: a mind built to consume. The first time audiences met Hannibal Lecter, he wasn't yet the elegant face you see on posters. He didn't even wear the same name. Here, it's Lecter. Brian Cox plays him with a steadiness that's harder to look at than rage. His cell is not a dungeon, not shadows and chains. It's worse. Behind thick glass, in a room painted white, lit until the walls almost hum, he sits like an artifact no one should have unearthed. There's nowhere to hide in that light. But somehow, he remains hidden all the same, as if the brightness itself bends around him. Will Graham carries his own ghosts. He can step into the thoughts of killers, breathe the same mental air, and feel their cruelty from the inside. It's a gift that rots the longer you use it. The last time, it nearly hollowed him out, because the man he caught was Lecter. That memory clings to him. You see it in his eyes, the way he studies people as if every polite smile might crack open into something wet and snarling. Now another predator has begun to feed. Francis Dollarhide comes in the night, crossing thresholds meant to keep the world out. Families wake to his presence too late, if they wake at all. The rooms he leaves behind are not scenes you look at. They're things you survive seeing. Dollarhide calls himself something only he believes, but believes enough to kill for. Graham returns to Lecter for help. Their meeting is almost soundless. No threats, no shouting, just 2 men measuring each other in a space that feels thinner by the second. Lecter doesn't lean forward, doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. His words are built to lodge deep, to scratch when you're alone. Dollarhide's home is a place where the air feels wrong. He kills slowly, not because he hesitates, but because he enjoys the process of becoming. When it's over, Graham lives, Dollarhide doesn't. But the victory feels hollow. The shape that truly lingers isn't the man who killed with his hands. It's the one who killed without ever leaving his chair. 5 years later, the glass cell returned. But the thing inside was no longer just a man. Anthony Hopkins gives Lecter a stillness that feels like a hand on the back of your neck. The room seems smaller when he speaks, as if the air itself draws inward. Each word is rolled across his tongue, tasted, savored, then set loose like something with claws. His gaze doesn't stop at the surface of a face. It slips past skin and bone, sifting through thoughts meant to stay buried. Clarice Starling is sent to him, a young FBI trainee carrying the kind of composure that cracks if you press just right. She wants insight into another predator, a man who skins women, Buffalo Bill. The name is harmless. What he leaves behind is not. The bodies are missing pieces, and the reasons for those absences are better left unspoken. Lecter and Clarice meet in a space where nothing moves except their voices. The camera doesn't step back. It forces you to feel how little distance there is between them. He never threatens her outright, because he doesn't have to. Each answer is a thread pulling at something private in her, something she didn't bring into the room, but somehow he already holds. Buffalo Bill's story winds through theirs. A basement where the air is damp with the breath of the trapped, walls hung with the remains of others. Clarice moves toward him through darkness and the weight of silence. But it's Lecter who lingers in the mind, even when he's not on screen. When his escape comes, it's not a frenzy. It's timing, an arrangement of bodies placed exactly where he wants them. The aftermath is clean. The cell door opens. He does not run. He walks. And by the end, Clarice stands in the light. Bill lies dead. And Lecter's voice drifts down a telephone line, warm as an old acquaintance, a sound that promises you will see him again, whether you want to or not. Before we move on to the next Hannibal Lecter chapter, you'll want to see where the good doctor's appetites take him. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. The next film serves up new chills and an entirely new flavor of Lecter. Stick around. The table is set, and dinner is about to be served. Years pass. Lecter doesn't hide underground or in back alleys. He walks in the open, in Florence, among people who admire his taste, without knowing what his hands have done. He spends his days surrounded by art, old stone, and music that has outlived the people who wrote it. Clarice Starling is still in the FBI, but the years have made her sharper in some places, worn in others. She's not a student anymore. She's been through the noise of bureaucracy, the kind that eats away at the edges of good work. Jodie Foster didn't return. Julianne Moore now plays her with a quieter, more guarded edge. There is another figure in the story, Mason Verger. His face is no longer his own, and the mask he wears is not for show. Years ago, Lecter convinced him, gently, almost kindly, to peel away the skin from his own face while under the influence of drugs. Verger survived, but the pieces he lost cannot be replaced. What's left of him sits in a wheelchair, surrounded by wealth, plotting to bring Lecter back so he can be fed alive to pigs bred for the purpose. Ridley Scott films Florence as though the city itself has been watching for centuries, its streets knowing more than they let on. Inside this beauty, Lecter moves without hurry, always close enough to leave, but never seeming like he needs to. The violence here is slower, more deliberate. The infamous dinner scene comes near the end. A table set, wine poured, and a man seated upright, though his skull has been opened, the folds of his brain exposed to the cool air. Lecter serves him pieces of himself, cooked and seasoned. The man swallows without protest, his voice dulled by what's been taken from him. Starling is pulled into this world again. Lecter doesn't harm her. He could, but he doesn't. It's not affection. It's something colder, the fascination of a predator with a creature too rare to kill. The end leaves him free once more, slipping into the crowd as if the city has swallowed him. This one steps back in time. Before Clarice, before Florence. It's the hunt that broke Will Graham, the case that locked Lecter away in the first place. But unlike Manhunter, this version carries the weight of Anthony Hopkins' Lecter, older now in real years, but playing the role as if the man has been waiting for the world to catch up. It begins in a warm-lit concert hall. Lecter sits in the audience, listening, eyes calm. When a fellow member of the orchestra plays poorly, it's not an annoyance. It's a decision waiting to be made. Soon after, the man is missing. By the next scene, we know why. Lecter is a man who removes the things that displease him, with the same care someone else might use to prune a rose. Will Graham, played by Edward Norton, works with Lecter at first, not knowing the truth. But a visit to Lecter's home, shelves lined with medical books, sketches, a kitchen too clean, leads to a moment when both men realize the truth at the same time. The knife comes out fast. The fight is short but deep, both of them leaving blood behind. Years pass. Lecter is locked away, his cell now familiar to us. Another killer has risen, Francis Dollarhide, the same man from Manhunter, but here played by Ralph Fiennes. His belief is the same, that he is becoming something else, something that can only be completed through killing. The film splits its gaze between Dollarhide's obsession and Lecter's careful games. Lecter doesn't just give Graham advice, He sends Dollarhide Graham's address. It's a quiet betrayal, done with a pen and paper, sealed in an envelope. Dollarhide's home is filled with the image of the Red Dragon, a painting he believes is part of him. When a woman enters his life, there's a small chance for something human to grow. But that chance fades under the weight of what he thinks he must become. The ending mirrors Manhunter. Fire, violence, the kind of struggle that leaves the air smelling of smoke and metal. Graham survives, but Lecter remains where he began, locked in, waiting, knowing time is patient. The final film in release order drags us backward, before the glass walls, before the clean hands and fine manners, into the frozen marrow of where Hannibal Lecter was made. Not the man, not yet. Just the first cracks in the shell, where something darker seeps through. It begins during the time of World War II. Lithuania is starved white. Hannibal is a boy in a stone castle swallowed by forest, where winter gnaws the trees down to bone. War comes and tears it open. His parents die in the chaos. He and his younger sister Misha are left in the grip of soldiers who wear hunger like a second skin. The snow doesn't melt. The food disappears. The men begin to watch Misha differently. There's no ceremony in what happens, no firelight, no cruelty shouted aloud. Just an absence, the kind that rots inside the survivor. Her voice is gone, her body gone, yet pieces of her remain in them. And Hannibal eats too, because he has to. When it ends, he's sent to an orphanage inside the same castle. Its halls colder now, stripped of all sound. Something begins to take root in him, not just the need to live, but the precision of where to place the blade when the time comes. Years later, he escapes to France, into the care of Lady Murasaki, his uncle's widow. She gives him language, elegance, the quiet weight of a sword balanced in his hands. But beneath the lessons, something else grows, not learned, but remembered. The soldiers from that winter are still out there. He finds them, one by one. The killings aren't wild. They're precise and clinical, wiping out the forensic clues. He peels them open like fruit past its ripeness, discarding the flesh as if it's already spoiled. His eyes stay calm, his breathing even, as though the murders are not crimes, but corrections. By the end, the boy who ate to survive is gone. What stands in his place is something finished, not waiting for permission. The hunger is no longer just for revenge. It's for the act itself. The last smile is not victory. It's recognition. The quiet moment a predator realizes there is no going back. And that's every Hannibal Lecter film, from his chilling debut to his final, unforgettable meal. Monsters like him don't just vanish. They wait. If you want more horror explained, more villains dissected, and more nightmares served fresh, give this video a like and subscribe. We've got plenty more coming, so stay with us, unless you're afraid of what's on the menu next.